All right, more news for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Taylor Lewan, offensive tackle for the Tennessee Titans. We talked about this a while ago. He went on Bussin' with the Boys, his podcast, and said that he believes he's going to be a cap casualty this year. Well, Jersey Jerry of Barstool Sports tweeted out a picture of him in a Steelers uniform because the Steelers could use left tackle help, and he wasn't opposed to it. Came back and said those colors go hard. Are those colors so go hard? Go so hard. We're gonna correct that for him. It's definitely go so hard.
Yeah,
definitely hinting that he's not opposed to it. I think Taylor Lewan's a dude who is going to be extremely open throughout this entire process, and he has been already. I think if he wants to go to the Steelers, he'll straight up say, "I want to go to the Steelers." But do you think that this is an early remark of maybe they're decently high on his list?
Look, if he's basing his decision off of uniforms, then probably. I don't know. I
do that in Madden all the time.
Right. Like I think it wasn't like a particularly special jersey or whatever. It was just like their white uniform. I don't know. It was just like their road uniform.
Dude, it's painted on. What?
Right? Well, like
look at it's just like a graphic. Like it's just painted. It's
not, it's
not actually photoshopped.
I just meant like if it was like an alternate jersey or something. This concept's like really cool. No, that would be one thing. But no, he likes the way he looks in a Steelers uniform, which isn't a bad thing at all. He got paid. I think he's under contract for like $14 million or something, and that's after like 2 ACL surgeries.
Yeah, that's why he believes he's going to be a cap cut, because he's 2 ACL surgeries in 3 years. You're not going to pay somebody $14 million.
Yeah. So like he probably would love to come to the Steelers. I don't know. Like the Steelers got to be a little wary about that marriage, right? Like it's not a slam dunk for them as much as would be a slam dunk for him.
Do you think that you could bring him, a guy like that, in and ask him to be a depth piece, like a backup tackle for cheap? Like you could probably get him now for like $7 million, maybe $6 million.
Yeah.
Or you think that's slap in the face for a guy like that?
I don't know. Is he gonna get a better deal anywhere else? I think
I don't know. He might though.
Like not even in terms of money, but just like someone's actually going to say, we can trust you as a full-time starter from day one. Like it's also one thing to say, to sign him and say, as long as you're healthy, this is your spot. And then, eventually he is not healthy. Like I assume there's going to be some hiccups there, even when he's at his best. So I don't think you even really need to do that, quite honestly. Like, I don't know.
Just bring him in, say he's a star. Does that screw the whole thing up? Because there's two questions.
What? Like, I don't like, because
the Dan Moore thing. Because like if you bench Dan Moore and then you bring him back in, chances are he's not going to be very good.
What? Like how so? Well, like what? He can't come off the bench?
Yeah, I mean you're going to screw up his development. I feel like I feel like Dan Moore gets better as the season goes on. So you toss him in there week 11 and say, you are now our starting left tackle. You got to be concerned that it's going to be a week 1 appearance or a week 3 appearance where he's getting a holding call and an offsides every 4 plays for 17 weeks in a row. And then things start to calm down.
I don't know if Dan Moore, if he's like doing that for 11 weeks in a row, like, if Dan Moore is significantly better than Lewan, yes.
No, I know. I mean, if Taylor gets hurt, if Lewan gets hurt.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not as concerned about that. I don't know if you can't, like, I don't think you leave Dan Moore in just because I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah, right. Like if it was a more upside guy, if there was more potential in Dan Moore, there wouldn't be a question. It would be you rock with Dan Moore. You don't screw that up.
Right. But and I just don't like. I don't think he's right. Yeah, and you don't know, like, has Dan Moore earned like that kind of leeway?
Yeah, no.
Like I don't think so.
Definitely not.
Like, I don't think there's anyone on that offensive line where if you don't have, like, I'm pretty comfortable saying it's a clear upgrade.
Oh gosh, yeah. A
Like
three-time Pro Bowler.
yeah, like health withstanding, like that's a pretty clear upgrade.
Yeah.
So if Dan Moore gets, I don't know. I'm not as concerned about that. You got to put the best players in there, and you don't sacrifice the present thinking too much about the future. I
Okay.
think.
Yeah. I like that.
That's how I would approach that.
I like that a lot. Do you go Taylor Lewan? He's not going to sign until after the draft, I would believe. Like,
Yeah.
he'll be a cap casualty kind of late.
Mhm.
Where's your, and this is tough because we haven't done too much draft stuff, but is it like if you get a first round offensive tackle, you don't go out and sign a guy like that, but if you get a second round offensive tackle, maybe you do? Or is your cutoff like if you don't get one in the first and second round, then you do? But if you get a guy in the first or second round, it's over. You're rocking with the rookie.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you, I think it's, I think if you draft a guy in the first or second round to play that position like that, that wouldn't make sense to sign a veteran like that and just push someone further down the depth chart who really can't afford it. I'd even like say like third round. Like I don't. I know this isn't a super deep offensive line class, but if you're gonna take a young guy that high, might as well play him.
Yeah,
I don't,
unless
like,
it's. I mean, last time they did that, it was Kendrick Green and Dan Moore. So they're not very good at that mid round. The Steelers actually are pretty bad at the mid round offensive linemen. Like at least in recent history, pretty bad. Like you could go all the way back to like Mike Adams, who was just like supposed to be the dude. I don't even know if he lasted a year. I was still younger, but it went David DeCastro, Mike Adams. Mike Adams never started a game.
Well, yeah, then just like don't draft bad offensive linemen. Like that seems like the easy. I don't know. That seems obvious, but like that seems obvious. But like if a guy's unplayable, then he's unplayable, and then you just like made a bad pick. That has nothing to do with the timing of what you.
Dude, but the Steelers love to do that. Kendrick Green was on that roster for 17 games when we both knew every offensive lineman on the depth chart could be hurt. They'd call somebody up before they would start Kendrick Green. Easy. Yeah. It was a pride thing. It was easily a pride thing. Yeah. And they'll do it again. We both know they'll do it again. Like if they make a bad decision, they sit on those bad decisions so long. And that's what worries me about Dan Moore is like, you have upside. I get it. He showed some progress at the end of the season. He looked pretty good in those last couple of games. I get that. But like, are you holding on to a little bit of hope and you're just going to completely ignore it again and take another chance because you're just going to let your pride get in the way? I think that's the Steelers' biggest issue. It's been the Steelers' biggest issue. I was shocked that they didn't do a Kendrick Green. Like I was almost positive he was going to start at guard this year and continue to play somewhere. And like, I don't know, like, he won't be, they'll get rid of him this year, but now they're going to do it with Dan Moore because, he shows small flash. It's the Matt Canada theory, like small flashes.
Doing just enough
where you're just like, well, we know there's something there. It's like, yeah, I get it, man. There's something there, but there's not a lot there. Like there's not enough there to keep those guys around.
And I think
either way, it's a good positive side.
Yeah. Well, I think the margin for error gets even thinner. I think the more this thing progresses and the more this like rebuild progresses, like the longer Kenny Pickett is your starting quarterback, the longer Najee Harris is in there, and just the further you move along in this, the more the expectation is we need quality play now instead of, kind of being okay with some aspects of development, if that makes sense.
Nope. Agreed. 100%. 100%. I don't, and you like have to think that Mike Tomlin knows that, but what is Mike Tomlin's scale of risk compared to ours? Because ours is small, 100%.